We've talked about this before on the podcast plenty, but net neutrality. So if you're not familiar, and by the way, the story is out of The Verge, self isolation has stress to networks, and no one knows if the FCC can step in. So net neutrality basically says your internet service provider has to treat every website as equal. So it can't throttle some websites up and some websites down. And that's to prevent providers from doing things like, let's say Comcast buys Netflix. That would prevent Comcast from slowing down Amazon Prime, but making Netflix faster. Or maybe they don't charge you for streaming Netflix, but they do charge you for streaming a competitor. The problem now is with so much demand for HD video coming across broadband networks is the ISPs don't have a way to say slow down Netflix so that your Zoom call can still go fast in your house. Say your neighbor's watching 4K Netflix. So they don't have a way to manage the bandwidth demand. And this is no surprise. The United States has been notoriously bandwidth constrained, basically from the beginning of our internet life, because the United States, we were the first to lay the cable. And so we had the oldest generation infrastructure in place. And some countries, even Europe, South America, that have come on later into broadband have a more updated infrastructure than we do for this.
Mm, I did not know
So,
that.
yeah, bandwidth limitation. Now, it's been improving over the past 4 or 5 years. There's been a lot of new cable laid in the United States. But overall, the bandwidth restriction is a problem. And I think you're going to hear more and more about this as people sink more deeply into endless queues of Netflix viewing and Zoom calls.
Yeah, wasn't a part of that article as well as like the FCC also because of the like net neutrality stuff doesn't have any oversight really of these companies. So a lot of like Netflix and
Correct.
them are
Yep.
actually like self throttling, like YouTube and Netflix have actually like self-imposed
Correct.
throttles
Yep.
on themselves. Yeah.
hmm and so it's a more complicated legal situation than probably
Mhm.
I just gave net neutrality, precedence for. The interesting is it's been one of those flip situations where before, being pro net neutrality would have been thought of as a more socially conscious thing to be, whereas now that's kind of flipped, where
Mhm.
maybe being anti net neutrality is the more socially conscious thing to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So, just one of the many issues that have 180'd in recent
Yep.
times.